Hello and a very warm welcome to this special. India have won the first test in Mohali, which was Virat Kohli's 100th test, but it turned out to be a stellar performance from Ravindra Jadeja. Ravindra Jadeja scoring 175 runs and taking 9 wickets in the match, a special match for him, but India completely demolishing Sri Lanka in under 3 days. They won the test match by an innings and 222 runs. Nikhil Narayan joins us from Mohali. Shubhayan Chakravarti is here in the studio with me. Nikhil, you've got some fans with you. I'm sure they're ecstatic. It's a little disappointing that they didn't get to see Virat Kohli bat again. But hey, India thrashing Sri Lanka in 3 days.
Absolutely, Maya. A big victory for India. Their fourth biggest victory by an innings ever. Second biggest victory against Sri Lanka. The crowd was, there was a lot of crowd at the stadium. Today was a Sunday. It was a holiday here in Chandigarh. It was 50% full, which was the capacity. I've got some fans with me. Bhaiya, कैसा लगा मैच देख के? आप लोग डिसअपॉइंटेड थे कि विराट कोहली की बैटिंग फिर से नहीं आई? आप उसको ही देखने आए थे? पर रोहित शर्मा ने फिर फॉलो और इन्फोर्स कर दिया, इससे बैटिंग नहीं आई। अच्छा, गलत किया उसने।
विराट का यहाँ पर 100 होना चाहिए था उनके 100 टेस्ट मैच में। दोबारा बैटिंग
रोहित शर्मा ने गलत कर दिया मतलब।
पता था तो मैच को जीत जाएंगे। अगले तो लास्ट में सबको पता था मेरे टेस्ट मैच का क्या होना है। और थोड़ा जड्डू के लिए भी थोड़ा तो थे कि वो भी अपनी डबल सेंचुरी कर सकते थे। हाँ, उसके लिए करना चाहिए। 3-4 ओवर कम से कम देना चाहिए।
अच्छा, तो रोहित शर्मा ने 2 मिस्टेक कर दिया आप कह रहे हैं। और जो मैच जिताया है इनिंग से, उसका क्या होगा?
Okay, I want. I can see that they're really excited, and why not? Why not? This is.
अच्छा, एक मिनट, हाँ. Yes, Maya.
अरे बोलने दीजिए. Let them.
They are saying Rohit Sharma has made a couple of mistakes in the match.
You know what? This is now something that a lot of people will be talking about. Why was Jayant Yadav given overs to bowl when he could have given those overs to Jadeja? Given how well Jadeja was bowling, he was close to becoming, the only man in the history of cricket to have got 100 runs and 10 wickets if he had got that last wicket as well. So there are going to be questions asked about Rohit Sharma's captaincy, but how good were the Indian bowlers, Shubhayan? Persistent, relentless. If your spinners were putting the pressure every time, even the fast bowlers were brought in, they did the job.
Absolutely, starting from Jasprit Bumrah and Mohammad Shami, the way they bowled with the new ball, and then Ravindra Jadeja and Ashwin stealing the show. Absolutely, I think this shows the quality of this Indian team on home soil and why they are almost impossible to defeat on home soil. Although some teams have defeated India here and there in the past, but I think it's close to an impossible task to defeat India in India. And given the kind of strength and different sort of qualities they bring to the table, I think they are the best home side as far as I am concerned in Test cricket.
That's right. So take a look at that scorecard. India declaring on 578 for 8. Sri Lanka in reply started the day today on 108 for 4. Were bundled out for 174 in the first innings. Then there was all this talk about whether India were going to enforce the follow-on or not. But, what we've seen in the past where India came back to bat more often, today Rohit Sharma said, no, I think I'm going to enforce the follow-on, and rightfully so as well, Nikhil, given that they'd got the Sri Lankan batting out, just before lunch session, and I thought it was only right that they enforce the follow-on and really end this, because at the end of the day, I mean, you realized how absolutely hapless Sri Lanka were. Nikhil?
Absolutely, Maya. I can hear you, Maya. Yeah. I didn't gather your question completely, but if you ask me whether he should have, it is a departure from Rohit Sharma, the captain, to enforce the follow-on. Virat Kohli did not enforce the follow-on on many occasions. Many captains around the world these days don't enforce the follow-on, even though they dismiss the opposition, let's say within 50 to 60 overs. It is not only a question of giving bowlers a rest. It is just a policy of not enforcing the follow-on. Today he could have easily let Virat Kohli bat again, maybe if not score a century, just see the numerous spectators, around 90% spectators has come to see only Virat Kohli. They couldn't care less if India won or lost. Because that result was already a foregone conclusion. But that is not how Rohit Sharma thinks. I mean, he was thinking about the team. It's a bit cloudy. What if it rained? He wanted to get rid of the match today. And that's what he did. I think I support Rohit Sharma here. I know everyone in the crowd and the press box were disappointed. But you play for the team. This is not an individual sport. And I think it was the right decision to call off the team. Forcing the follow-on also adds insult to the opposition. It is humiliating if a team is asked to enforce the follow-on. And I think Rohit Sharma did the right move. India have not only defeated them by a massive record margin, but also gained psychological points by this innings victory going into the Bangalore test.
I think also just to have the belief in your bowlers. You know, you're telling your bowlers that, look, you've done the job in, one session. I expect you to do the job again in the next 2 sessions. And I would get it if Sri Lankan batting had sort of gone on till tea or even before that. But the fact that they were out so early in the day, I thought was only fair that he enforced the follow-on and just sort of finished this off. But how good were India, Shubhayan? I mean, we've spoken about this. And how good was Ravindra Jadeja? First to do it with a bat the way he did, 175 runs. We've talked about the innings, the way he paced his innings, the way he played first with Rishabh Pant and then with Ravichandran Ashwin and then with Mohammad Shami, how he became the aggressor. Then to bowl like that. I mean, we knew that this was going to be a big match for Ravindra Jadeja and Ashwin given the conditions, but the way it's turned out, absolutely special.
Oh, it was a bowling masterclass by Ravindra Jadeja. I'll leave the batting side apart for today's day of play, but it was a bowling masterclass by Ravindra Jadeja. He overshadowed Ashwin in this test, and it is very hard to overshadow Ashwin on Indian soil. 175 in the first innings, followed by a 5-for. Only a handful of cricketers have done that. Vinu Mankad is there, Atkinson is there, Paulie Umbriger is there. But the way Ravindra Jadeja showed, and he was flighting the ball up to Charit Asalanka, who was smashing him at one stage of time. So that shows the heart he brings to the table, and the way he was enticing Asalanka to come and hit him so that he can get a wicket there. But the game plan, the bowling astuteness of Ravindra Jadeja, hats off to him.
And couldn't have been better, really, Nikhil. Coming back from an injury, had been away, going through the rehabilitation process, and then to come back in such a manner, in such a fashion. And India needs Ravindra Jadeja, the all-rounder, and he's shown what he can do.
Absolutely, Maya. You know, he's not played a test match since November last year. First test match, comeback test match, and he gives the highest impact all-round performance, not only of his test career, but one of the finest all-round performances in India's test cricket history. I think Jadeja's transformation as a batsman since that oval knock in 2018, what that has meant is that his test average since then is around 48. He's scoring these, he's scoring big runs from the lower order. He's scoring tough runs from the lower order when India is under pressure, whether it's North Sound, whether it was the Oval. Here he scored big runs again. Jadeja is doing, playing a dual role. He's scoring tough runs, and then he's a genuine match winner with the ball. As he showed again today, 16 wickets fell today, 8 of them were taken by Jadeja. He overshadowed R. Ashwin, who's one of the greatest spinners on Indian soil. So Jadeja, the all-rounder at present, may I have to say, is the best all-rounder in Test cricket, maybe the best all-rounder in international cricket, even ahead of Ben Stokes. In fact, if you have to analyze Indian cricket Test history, I think Ravindra Jadeja is India's second greatest all-rounder after Kapil Dev.
I think I'll have to agree with you there, and especially in the current scenario. Since 2016, I was just looking at the numbers, absolutely incredible numbers by Ravindra Jadeja there, 42 test matches, 1,896 runs at an average of 44 with a bat, 173 wickets is what he's taken in that time. The differential average that you keep talking about, Nikhil, it has increased since yesterday from 18 to 19.63. Because of how well he's bowled, the difference that he's made, he's been absolutely phenomenal. But what I find also incredible is both of them bowling in tandem, Shubhayan, and how difficult that is for the opposition. in Indian conditions to be relentless. You know, if it's not Ashwin, then it's Jadeja who's going to come after you. We are going to talk about also Ashwin, you know, crossing a milestone. But just another word on both of them bowling in tandem.
Oh, it's an absolute treat. I mean, when you go to England, people talk about Stuart Broad and James Anderson. When you go to Australia, people talk about Pat Cummins and Hazelwood. But when you come to India, we talk about Ashwin and Jadeja. That is their quality. They are at the top of that pedigree. As I said, Jadeja and Ashwin bowling together on Indian soil, it is an impossible task to handle the two of them, and the results that India have garnered over the year in Test cricket, I think that showed why I am saying so. They haven't lost a Test series since God knows how long, and the last Test, although they lost a Test in Chennai against England, their record on Indian soil, it is phenomenal, and I think it is a dream for any bowler or any player to achieve such feats. And I think when Ashwin and Jadeja they come to a close when in their career, I think India will miss this bowling pair a lot.
Okay, and now with Charit Asalanka's wicket, what Ashwin did was he overtook Kapil Dev in the list of highest wicket takers. And that also just has gone on to show what an incredible match winner Ashwin has been. I know, Nikhil, you spoke about him yesterday as well, but just the manner in which he keeps working on his craft. You know, he's a thinking bowler. He's constantly working on his deliveries. Whenever, and we've also seen him on his YouTube channel, you know, he's talking to various cricketers, trying to really get into what it takes to excel at that level. And it just shows in, you know, how he bowls, the passion that he bowls with.
Absolutely, Maya. He has, you know, a number of variations, whether it's a conventional off spin, whether it is the one which goes, you know, straight on in the guile of a conventional off spin. And that is the one he used in this match to dismiss a number of the Sri Lankan players. He's also a very analytical, person, as you were suggesting. He deals with numbers, he understands analysis. He's a person of technicalities and minute details. And therefore, what that makes Ravichandran Ashwin, the bowler, even more dangerous. One thing which stands out in his career is his bowling strike rate. If you see his bowling strike rate, Meha, it is amongst the best in Test cricket history. It is better than Mutaiya Muralidharan and Shane Warne. And that says something.
Absolutely. And that just also goes on to show the amount of work that he puts into this. I mean, that interview that I read where he's talking about how there was a point in his career when even to bowl one over, he'd be exhausted by the end of it. His body was giving up. He thought of giving up the game. But just look at how he's returned and how he's returned even in limited overs. But we've also got to talk about Sri Lanka and how dismal they've been. We knew that this was going to be a tough ask from Sri Lanka, but then to have 16 wickets fall on the day. I mean, I know the Indian bowling was very good, but Sri Lankans were absolutely listless, Shubhayan.
Oh yes, apart from Niroshan Dickwella and Dhananjay De Silva, I don't think any of the batter. Angelo Matthews, for a while, he looked like he was dealing Ashwin and Jadeja pretty well, and Jayant Yadav as well. But I don't think anyone apart from those three stood a chance against Indian bowlers. You can see the scorecard there. I think 51, Niroshan Dickwella. But apart from him, no one showed the courage and the heart to at least come down and face that battle against Ashwin and Jadeja. And if it happens the same in Bengaluru, then we might see the match getting over in 2 days.
Yeah. Were you surprised at all with the number of overs that Jayant Yadav got to bowl, Nikhil? Because I thought it was, you know, I mean, I saw that conversation even on social media, and of course people were suggesting that, hey, Rohit Sharma does not know that there's a record waiting for Ravindra Jadeja. But just even otherwise, when Jadeja was looking so good, it seemed like he was going to get more wickets. Then you just get him off and put Jayant Yadav there. And then someone suggested that, oh, it's because, you know, he may not get another chance, so he's just getting to bowl more overs. And I don't know whether that really is fair. Nikhil?
Yeah, if your question is why didn't Jayant Yadav bowl more? Is that your question?
No, I'm saying why was he being made to bowl more at a time when Jadeja looked good to be taking wickets? There was a record in waiting for Jadeja to get 10 wickets, but he wasn't really brought in at that time. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay. The thing with Rohit Sharma is that Rohit Sharma only thinks for the team. You declare on 175. You don't care for personal milestones of individual players. You don't care whether Virat Kohli, gets to bat in his 100 tests a second time, and therefore he's only thinking of the team.
Come on.
And therefore, I think
Come on. I'm going to stop you
Rohit
right
Sharma
here.
at that time, the time you were
Between Jayant
suggesting,
Yadav, one second. Between Jayant Yadav and Ravindra Jadeja, who looked like taking a wicket? In this whole
Yes,
test match,
yes, but
not just in that spell.
he also wanted to give Jadeja a break. Jadeja can't bowl non-stop. I mean, Jadeja at the end of the day is a human being, so you have to give him a break. So he is thinking of he's also coming back from an injury. So how many overs would Jadeja bowl in tandem from one end?
Yeah, well, I'll have to find out whether Jadeja was okay to bowl more and then he would have been given that ball, because I can tell you that Jadeja would have wanted to get that wicket as well. I know none of them, no cricketers ever have cared about personal milestones, but then hey, they all slow down when they reach in their 90s. Most of them want a fifer or a 10-wicket haul. So I know where you're coming from, but I also know that these cricketers do appreciate their milestones. They want those milestones. They want those records. But 3 days, you're going to be returning back. I just feel like I would have expected more from Sri Lanka. I don't know about you gentlemen. We knew that this was going to be a difficult one, but just the way India have been all over them, what are you expecting from Sri Lanka in Bengaluru? Shubhan?
Oh, I think it is going to be very hard, because I think India are going to unleash either of Mohammad Siraj or Umesh Yadav in that pink ball test. So I think it will be very, very hard. We saw what India did to South Africa in that pink ball test, and then against Bangladesh. So with the SG pink ball, which has more lacquer and does more in the air, I think it is going to be another innings thrashing, in my opinion, when comes the second test in Bengaluru.
Nikhil?
I expect the match to be over in 2.5 days. India may not score 500 plus, but even if they score 350, I think Sri Lanka will be bowled out for less than 100 in at least one of the innings. It's a history of day and night tests. They don't last for more than 3.5, 4 days across the world.
Also, we've got to talk about, hey gentlemen, we've got to talk about Rishabh Pant. He played a brilliant knock. We've all forgotten Rishabh Pant's knock, amidst the drama of Ravindra Jadeja, Ravichandran Ashwin, but Rishabh Pant's knock and how crucial that was. And I think for the Indian team and for Rishabh Pant, he needs to do this more, because we know the way he can get out, Shubhayan, we've seen that as well. So whenever he puts up a big total, it sort of adds to, people saying, oh, but look at the way he got out. Because I know he plays his natural game, and he's going to always be a polarizing figure in that sense, because some will say, hey, come on, play to the match situation. Some will say, play your natural game. But this was an incredible innings.
Oh, breathtaking innings. I think he completely shifted the momentum with the sort of knock he played on day one and day two. But the best part about Rishabh Pant's inning is the way he accelerated, the way he took over the Sri Lankan bowler and perhaps their best bowler, Lasith Embuldenia, and his knock will stand out, and the way he got out against the new ball. I think there's some little more work to do on Rishabh Pant's game against new ball, because in England also he struggled against Anderson and Ollie Robinson against the new ball. So I think that part of Rishabh Pant's game still needs to be improved. But yes, he is going to take a lot of heart from this knock and hopefully start converting these 90s into big scores, because once he crosses the century, we know what a menacing threat he is with the bat.
Absolutely. Now, there was another big moment for India today, with Indian women's team winning against Pakistan in their opening game of the Women's World Cup by 107 runs. At one point, India did look like they were in trouble. They were losing wickets after they got a good start from Smriti Mandhana. But hey, Sneh Rana with an absolutely brilliant all-round performance, and Pooja Vastrakar, both of them adding 122 runs for the 7th wicket, scoring 244 overall. India scoring 244 for 7. In reply, it was again a brilliant bowling effort from India, with Rajeshwari Gaikwad taking a 4-wicket haul, and Jhulan Goswami and Sneh Rana getting 2 wickets each. So a brilliant start for India in the World Cup, Shubha. And you know, this is going to give them confidence simply because at one point when Mithali Raj got out, they really looked like they were in trouble. But then to come out of it, scoring 244 and then getting their opposition out for 137, they'd be very happy with their performance.
They will be very happy. Now India have won all their 11 ODIs against Pakistan when it comes to women's cricket. Yes, as you said, Sneha Rana and Pooja Vastrakar, they were making their World Cup debut today. So to get half centuries and help India win the match, I don't think they could have dreamt a better debut for India in the World Cup stage. But the matches going forward, I think it will be very, very tough for India, and they need to sort that middle order out. Mithali Raj can't play 36 balls to score 9 runs, and even Harmanpreet Kaur needs to convert those warm-up matches, starts in the warm-up matches in the main event. But yes, it is a terrific start, a confidence booster. The way Rajeshwari Gaikwad bowled, the way Deepti Sharma batted for her 40-run knock, I think it's a good start. Just they need to come together in the tougher matches and get this World Cup in their kitty.
Yeah, but it would give them a lot of confidence. Was there a buzz around? I'm sure there was a buzz around the press box. I mean, people were watching that match as well while this was on, because at one point, Nikhil, it looked like that India were in trouble. But then just the way Pooja Vastrakar and Sneha Rana came back. Nikhil?
Right, Maya. It was a record partnership, I think, by the two Indian girls, and a brilliant win. You know, a lot of people in the press box were watching the match, and they were a little nervous because they don't want India to lose to Pakistan in any sport. So therefore, you know, when India, when the chips were down, they were really playing, not caring what happens in the match against Sri Lanka, because that was a foregone conclusion. But they really wanted the Indian girls to beat Pakistan at any cost. You know, Snehal has done this before. I think in a test debut, I think in Bristol, she scored a fighting knock under pressure, batting in the lower order. So the qualities of, you know, a fight back are in this girl, and today she showed, you know, what India-Pakistan in the women's game may not be as stressful as India-Pakistan in men's game, but anything India and Pakistan do together, you know, comes with a lot of pressure. So hats off to the Indian women.
Absolutely. Hats off to them, and hats off to them for fighting back from where they were to win this match. So it was actually a good Sunday for Indian fans. Women's team won at the World Cup, and then men's team completely thrashing Sri Lanka by an innings and 222 runs. Nikhil Narayan, thank you so much. Come back home quickly. You've got 2 days holidays now after the match got wrapped up in 3 days. Shubhayan Chakravarti here in the studio with me. That's it on this special. Do enjoy what is left of your Sunday. Goodbye from us.